Who are the best TURs in Dokkan Battle? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We got another Dokkan Battle video for you here today. We are taking a look at the most recent TURs released in Dokkan Battle and ranking them on our tier list. As many of you guys can see on the screen here, and if you've been following for the channel for a while, you know that we don't use a typical 1 through 10 fashion for ranking our TURs, but rather a standardized tier list, as this provides a better insight to how these units perform in relation to the rest of the TURs released around before and to come after them. We like to update the list dynamically, keeping the list up, running as we gain new units. So you can see how the list is changing throughout each celebration, and how units can fluctuate up and down, as new units and new fights are released that can, sort of change the viability of certain units. I do find that this is the best way to approach looking at that. Now, that is to say that we do have some criteria looking at when we place the categories, right? We do look at three major things as we assess our units. We look at power, versatility, and consistency. Power, that is the unit's overall strength, whether that comes in the form of offense or defense. Are those things so great that it can forgive all other things, right? Are they just a unit that is so powerful offensively that you don't really need to worry about where or when he can be used, because it's always going to hit hard? Or is that unit so defensive that it doesn't matter where you put them, they're always going to tank? We also look at versatility, right? That is, how many different teams can the card be used on? And, how many different fights can they be used in? And then finally, we look at consistency, right? What is the unit's job? What is their function? Do they do it well? And can they do it consistently? Those are the three major things we look at here. If you want a specific breakdown of each tier, you can check out some of my previous videos. I'm not going to spend too much time breaking down each tier, but more or less understand that the tiers basically mean if a unit is in Z tier, they are pretty much top tier, consistent and viable in just about every single piece of content, and have some decent flexibility. If a unit is in S tier, they can be a little more niche, but they are still very, very powerful in where they can be used and very, very useful. These units tend to be a little, I call these the sort of pseudo Z tier, right? Like, they're not bad at all, but they just quite aren't at the level of those in the Z tier. Then we have our borderline tier, our A tier, right? These are units that have uses depending on the team that they're on and can be very viable. It just depends on the fight and the team and the support that they're getting. Then we have the B tier. These are very, very highly controversial units, to say the least. They tend to have usefulness on one, maybe two specific teams, but they can be very risky to run. And then we have the C tier, the bottom tier. This is our lowest tier. None of the units here are bad per se, but they're going to have probably more loss conditions than they have win conditions. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop on in to the tier list. So you can see here, it's been a minute since we've updated the tier list, not since anniversary, when we updated, our super easy A's that we got during anniversary and our easy A's. So we're going to kick things off with the king himself, Tech Deborah, right? He is one of the first post-anniversary TURs that we've gotten in a long time that stands above the crowd. Usually the anniversary TURs tend to be, I don't want to say throwaway units, but I don't think we've ever got a post-anniversary TUR at the level of Tech Deborah in relation to his the anniversary LRs. Right, this guy has everything you want in a TUR. He's got strength, right, power both offensively and defensively. He's got consistency, right? No matter what, no matter where you're trying to use him or what team you're trying to use him on, he's going to do what he does, and he's going to do what he does very, very well, right? The only thing he lacks is a little bit of versatility. I'll kind of show you what I mean here, right? Right. Remember, he is designed to be used on an extreme class team. Or a Majin Buu Saga team, whichever one your team has more of is going to be the most beneficial to him. But no matter what, as long as you can fulfill that condition, right, you're talking about a character that has insane defense while stacking 66% defense with every super attack he does, with an ability to do 3 to 4 supers per turn, a nullification of unarmed super attacks, which is a very common super attack at the current moment, and of course getting a huge attack boost with his active skill that also provides a target active skill, which is, target skills are probably one of the most valuable type active skills that a unit can have in terms of coverage. And if you're running 2 of these guys, it's even better, right? So this guy, has things in spades when it comes to power. Like if we wanted to just kind of take a look here at some of the calcs that were done for him back when he was released, right? We can see defensively, right? He is just insane. By his 4th super attack after receiving by his 4th super attack after receiving an attack, he's up to 10 million defense. Like that's a lot of defense, right? By 8 stacks, which is essentially his 2nd appearance, right? 17 million, right? After your 4th turn, you're still looking pretty good. Once you lose that 4-turn bonus of his that he's got, you're still got 8 million to 12 million defense by the end. And again, he's not going to stop. The longer the fight goes on, the longer that, those defense raises can continue to raise. Offensively, right, he can put out anywhere from 100 mil to about 150 mil, depending on the setup offensively. So he's looking pretty good. And honestly, I think he deserves a spot right up here in the Z tier for being such a powerhouse, both offensively and through his consistency and what he's doing. The only thing I would ding him on is probably his versatility. All right, he's not going to do well on a superclass team for obvious reasons, and even the more superclass, or even the more but we'll get into Majin Vegeta for a second, right? Even on the more Saiyan-centered Majin Buu Saga team with mostly extreme class Majin Vegeta type enemies, he's still not going to do as well as he could there. He's useful, but he's not going to be as good as he can on that team. So I do give him a little ding in consistency in that regard, but it's not enough to place him anywhere below Z tier, right? If we start getting major fights that dodge cancel, I could see moving him lower, but for the time being, this is where he's at. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to the next TUR on our list, which is Ent Majin Vegeta. We have not been able to place this guy yet. But let's talk about Ent Majin Vegeta, right? Let's talk power. Offensively and defensively, he is pretty good. Offensively, provided you can meet his conditions, right? And if you guys remember, if we just want to come back here, right? Let's see. Let's go Vegeta. Where's he at? There he is. Right. So if we want to just take a look here, right? As long as we can meet his Trunks condition, right, he's going to have great offense and great defense, gaining 50% attack and defense, 30% damage reduction, right? As well as additional critical hit to help with that damage, right? But otherwise, it's mostly just focused on maintaining his orbs, which he creates for himself, right? Even if you're not fully below the HP threshold, he creates that for himself. And that makes it very easy to run him on top of all the other orb changing that's going on within his team here. So yeah, we got that. So he's pretty good offensively and defensively, able to hit, you know, anywhere between 70 million to 80 million, depending on the turn. And then again, he's doing about 4 of those with his additional, or sorry, 3 of those with his additional super attacks that are built in. His defense looks pretty good too, right? When you consider the guard and the damage reduction, right? We're talking, you know, 3 million after his 4th super attack. And again, that's going to put him well in range to tank most major supers post super. So very good defensively. Consistency, again, as long as you can maintain those orbs, he's not going to have a problem. So I could see docking some points on consistency due to, you know, sometimes orbs just aren't working the way you want them to. Versatility, he definitely takes a major hit on versatility because, again, you need that Trunks unit to make him work well. Now, we've got some pretty decent Trunks units to work for him, right? You've got Fizz LR Trunks. We've got Zeno Trunks now. You've got the Trunks Gohan and Goten, right? So, you know, there are Trunkses that can be used, but they're not always the, you know, it can be tough. So for that, I put him in S tier, right? He's still very good, but not quite at the Z tier because of that. Which brings us to the next monthly TUR, right? The AGL, Vegeta, and Nappa. Let's go ahead and pull him up here, right? This guy is very interesting, right? The Vegeta and Nappa here, because they do have a lot going on for them, a lot of good things going on for him, right? The Vegeta side is a support god, providing 40% attack defense support to Giant 8 Power and Saiyan Saga, plus 20 more, so 60% attack support to attack defense support to them, provided you can get 1 AGL and 1 Rainbow Key Sphere. He is pretty defensive, right? Post super, able to hit some pretty decent defense numbers, right? Up to 4 million, you know, if you get that AGL and Rainbow Orb post super, combined with, right, that where is it? That 40% damage reduction rate. He's got, plus that initial 20% extra that he's got, right? He's got a lot of good things going on for him. You combine that with an active skill that, you know, massively raises his attack by 1700% temporarily, providing some some orb changing and giving more support for Saiyan Saga allies, right? Up to 40% for extreme Saiyan Saga allies. We're talking about a powerhouse support unit. Combined with the Nappa side that also has, right, is really focused on getting hit, but has the ability to make that useful in giving himself guard and a target skill, while also providing huge boosts in damage and support as he gets hit. They're designed to be used in tandem together and designed to be primarily focused against either a short fight with multiple enemies or a long fight that allows you to build Vegeta's support up to the max, and then popping both their actives on the same turn, right? Can be useful, but it's a bit tricky to use them. So they do get points in power. They do get points in consistency, but they're going to lose a lot of points in versatility. And that mostly comes down to the team you are forced to use them on. Saiyan Saga Accelerated Battle, even with all of the EZAs that came to their celebration, is still a very limited team. You're essentially forced to run the Anniversary LRs under their lead to get the best out of them. The Saiyan Saga team is still very strong, very powerful, but it's just not quite at the Z tier level as a team. And there are restrictions of Vegeta not being able to do this unless you're facing only one enemy, really hurts him, because the Nappa side, you can be used either from the 4th turn or when facing 2 or more enemies. So it becomes very hard. Plus having to have another Saiyan Saga in the same turn. If you're facing only one enemy, it becomes really difficult to manage, right, and set up the way you want to set up. So for that, they lose points in versatility, but they've got plenty in power and consistency. The only big issue for this unit is because you are primarily in the Vegeta side for most of the fights, you do lose points in fights that have AoE. So they are going to go into A tier. They are not a terrible units, but they are by a wide margin much better than some of the other units here. So I almost want to move a good portion of this tier down into A tier just because of where they are. And I think, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to move Gogeta down. We're going to move Vegito Blue down into A tier. I kind of want to move him up. I've been using him a lot on the Realm of Gods team. Actually, you know what? I might leave him here. He's kind of really good on the A tier. On this tier, yeah. Pretty comfortable with this setup here. So with that said, let's move on to the Fizz Raditz. And I told you it's been a while since we updated this. So I'm kind of glad we're updating this now. All right, so let's talk about the Fizz Raditz. So let's come back here. Let's just click Saiyan Saga. All right, so Fizz Raditz here. So Fizz Raditz has got a lot of things going on, right? He jumped up in both power, versatility, and consistency, right? He went from 0 to hero for an easy A. He's got everything you want to see in an easy A TUR. He's raising attack and defense for 4 turn. He's got damage reduction. He's got additional damage reduction while in slot 1. He's got a huge attack and defense bonus depending on whether you decide to go slot 1 or slot 2. He's got even more as long as you can maintain a Vegeta or a Nappa on the team. And if you've got that Vegeta or that Nappa, you could actually put him slot 1 against a fully built up Bio Broly, and he will outright tank it. There are very few units who are capable of doing that. It really shows, right? You're talking about a unit, right? Fully built up, right? After in slot 3, right? If you really want to see his offense, you put him in slot 3, right? You really want to see that offense, put him in slot 3 when you have a Vegeta or a Nappa on the turn with him. And he will, he's going to chuck out, 3 100 mil supers, and it's pretty impressive to see that out of this unit, right? Combined with decent defense, right? Even if you're not going for that that tricky slot 1 turn with the 90% damage reduction, you're still talking about up to 4 million defense post super, 3 million 7 million, I'm sorry, with 3 super attack stacks after receiving an attack, right? Remember, a lot of units have that when receiving an attack, so it actually bumps them up significantly after that. So it's pretty powerful. So for that, I do think we get to slide him. I can't believe I'm doing this. I never thought I'd see the day I do this, but he's a Z tier unit. He's on. Funny enough, he is not nearly as restricted as as the AGL unit that he released with, because he only needs to be facing one enemy and only needs a Vegeta instead of just facing 2 enemy, right? So you could easily activate this by using him on any team that takes advantage of a Vegeta. Like, it's that simple. As long as he's on the lead, he's going to work just well. Now, obviously, because of links, right? And he doesn't even have that bad of links, right? Like, so he's going to get most of his links from some good, from some decent characters, right? Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, right? You got 4 links right there, 4 major Saiyan links. Obviously, Brutal Beatdown, Nightmare. You're going to get better from, obviously, like these extreme class Vegetas, but he's still going to link with a lot of decent Saiyans with just those 4 links. Like, so you don't really need to be on a full Saiyan Saga team with him, like with the Nappa and Vegeta would benefit more from. So for that, he gets to sit up kindly in Z tier. Moving on, right? Now we approach the Golden Week units, or Goku Day units. That they're the Golden Week units, regardless of when they release. They are a dual code Dokkan Fest that released in the month of May. They're the Golden Week units, so we're gonna call them that. So we have the God Goku and Beerus, and these ones, it's very interesting. I almost feel like we got to do something different for them. But let's start here. We'll start with the God Goku, right? When it comes to power, God Goku has that, in spades. He gets an insane attack buff on his first turn, right? So we just pull that up real quick. Where is he at here? Right. So let's pull him. All right. So on his first turn, he gets an insane 500% attack buff, allowing you to do big burst damage early on in the fight, while also having immediate access to a revive, so long as all characters are Realm of Gods, or you have 6 pure or hybrid Saiyans on the team. A very easy condition to meet, especially considering his best team is Realm of Gods, regardless, which is essentially, unless you're running the Beerus variant, all Realm of God, all pure Saiyans. So it's a very easy condition to meet. And if that wasn't enough, right? When he comes back on a second turn, while he may lose this attack and defense buff, as soon as he comes back and he revives, you have access to the revive and you toss him, let him revive, and now you get a permanent 510% attack buff, right? So he is most effective when he revives, but that's not to say he is ineffective when he doesn't. He also gets a further, so the turn after he revives is his best turn because he also gets a 150% additional attack, but he's still chucking out decent numbers after that if the fight should go on longer. With that said, where he kind of comes in is not necessarily his power, though he is one of the more offensively powerful TURs that we have. It really comes down to his consistency and his versatility that set him apart from other units. And it comes in the power of that revive. A free revive that can be activated essentially conditionless, right? While you may need to meet these conditions, they are extremely easy to meet, as the primary teams you're going to be running them on are either full pure Saiyans, right, or Realm of Gods. And if you've seen some of the team builds I've created, you even have a little bit of flexibility to have 1 or 2 non-pure Saiyans or hybrid Saiyans on the team, and it still work out nicely. So it really comes in the flexibility of that on-demand revive. Right? Let's say you load into a fight and you just have a really, really bad starting rotation. Rather than rather than just reset, you could easily just let him die, put him in a position to die. If the super is post-super, right? He's more likely to die post-super than he is pre-super because a lot of his dodge comes pre-super. Put him in that position, let him die, and revive and fix your rotations. It's very simple. And it's quite useful. It's an unaging ability, right? A lot of units with those free revives tend to last longer than their other counterparts because that it is such a useful tool for team building, having an on-demand revive. For that, we get to place him right up here in Z tier. And what we'll do is we'll move some units down. So we'll pop Baby down here to A tier, right? We'll pop him down here. The order doesn't really matter. right? So we'll pop him down here until A tier, because I still think he's quite good. And I think we'll move, I think at this point, Kid Goku, both Kid Gokus, just because they're more towards the beginning of year 10, they tend to have less use than some of these characters up here that are in S tier. Not to say that they can't be used still. And that brings us to Beerus. Beerus is a funny one, but a powerful one. I do enjoy using this Beerus, right? Like the Goku, he is a Realm of Gods leader. And he's also incredibly powerful, right? And unlike the Goku, his best turn is in fact not his first turn, right? His best turn is later in the fights when he's had time to both build up this defense and get all of, get all of this going for him, right? Where he really benefits the most is on teams where he's giving everybody this Realm of Gods offense and defense buff, right? Especially when facing Realm of Gods enemies, giving further offense and defense buffs, while also on his active skill turn, which is giving a further offense and defense buff for Realm of Gods and Planetary Destruction. Now, mind you, pretty much the only characters majorly benefiting from his offense and defense buffs are Champa's, Beerus's, and other Whis. It's still incredibly powerful, right? Any Realm of Gods character is still getting his 50% attack and defense buff. It's just that those other ones are getting the further buff, pushing them to, 110% attack and defense buff, right? So it's a little different for those characters, but other characters are still benefiting from it, and that's what makes him, that's what makes him so powerful. He's one of the most powerful support units we've had, and if that wasn't enough, he also has a counter, right? Countering to unarmed super attacks, which I've talked about before, is one of the most common. Super attacks at the current moment. When we're talking about this guy's defense, right, just so you can understand what we're dealing with here, right? After 3 super attack effects, right, when receiving an attack, he's got up to 17 million defense. That is really good for a character who's not infinitely stacking defense, right? So that's pretty insane. And granted, that's the active skill turn, but you're still talking 10 million defense outside of that, right? Like, that's still very, very impressive. So for that, this unit, of course, should come as no surprise, getting placed right here in the Z tier. And I do think we can kind of leave the list where it's at here. It's kind of crazy to look at this list, right? Because we have so many good units here that have released since the beginning of the year. I mean, I don't think we've ever had, a year where there are this many units competing for the top slot. Like if I really wanted to narrow it down to a top 5, right, you'd be looking at Beerus, God Goku, Deborah, and UI all competing for 1 through 4. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how good these units are. And I mean, it's good, right? Like, even if you wanted to break this down, again, I don't like 1 through 10s, and these aren't any particular order, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 units right here. There's a top 10 right there, but not in any particular order. But I would say that these guys are up there, and it's kind of weird to see Raditz sitting right up there with the top TURs. It's kind of crazy. I find it more crazy that I feel, right, that this guy, that he is more consistent and more viable than the Vegeta and Nappa. And it's not to say Vegeta and Nappa are that good. It's just, for me, him being a little less restrictionless, right, makes him a little easier to run. Same goes for the Majin Vegeta. And again, this isn't to say any of these guys here are bad either. Honestly, if the main reason I move them down is because I don't want my list cluttered, but you could easily just drop them here still, and I wouldn't argue with you, right? Like, they are still very good. So, guys, that is it for our video. That is our updated tier list for the month of May. Not sure when we'll do another update. I don't like to do these every month because I like to have these long conversations about them, but it is kind of fun. But maybe we will just do it next month, and it'll be a quick 8-minute update. We'll see. So that's it for the video, guys. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know, where would you place the most recent TURs? If you wanted to put them in a top 5 order, let us know. What would that be? Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching and aloha.